This U.S. Navy destroyer worth over $5 billion had suffered a major engine failure. With no propulsion system left, the crew was forced to use 3 parachutes as makeshift sails to keep the ship slowly moving forward. For 7 long days, the vessel drifted helplessly across the ocean. On board, more than 200 sailors hadn't had a single drop of fresh water in 2 days. Many were already collapsing from dehydration. They kept sending out distress signals.
We are in distress and require assistance.
But no one ever responded. Now their remaining water supply could barely last another day. Desperate for drinking water, the sailors poured canned food juice, beer, and even urine into a container and tried to distill it into pure water. It worked barely, but it was only a temporary fix. There was another problem. The ship's engine relied on water cooling. For every 1 hour of operation, it needed 5 hours of natural cooling, and the nearest island at least 7 days away. Then came a new disaster. The fuse blew out, cutting power to the main generator. Without electricity, the lab's cooling system stopped working. Inside that lab were precious vaccine samples. If the temperature rose above 41 degrees Celsius, 105 degrees Fahrenheit, the vaccines would be ruined. The captain quickly came up with a plan. He ordered the vaccines sealed in a waterproof case and lowered 500 meters under the sea where the cold water would keep them below the danger point. 2 more days passed. Their drinking water was completely gone. Just when everyone was losing hope, a sailor suddenly shouted, "Birds! I see birds. Where there are seabirds, there must be land." Moments later, they spotted a small island on the horizon. The captain ordered full speed ahead toward it. Fully armed, the crew went ashore, but what they encountered was beyond their worst expectations.
Masks! Now, masks!
A horde of virus-infected survivors came charging out of the jungle. The island had already fallen to an outbreak. The captain had no choice but to retreat and look for another landing site, but bad luck struck again. One of the men stepped on a hidden bear trap.
Oh, God! Set perimeter! I got you.
Seconds later, a group of armed militants burst from the trees and surrounded them.
He's gonna do it! Hold your fire! Hold your fire!
The sailors were captured and brought before the leader of the militants. The captain introduced himself, then warned coldly, "I have a U.S. destroyer anchored offshore. I can wipe this island off the map." But the militant leader just laughed. Instead of being intimidated, he invited the captain and his men to dinner. After the meal, the militants beat the executive officer and demanded the captain hand over their protective suits in exchange for safe passage off the island. Humiliated and outnumbered, the captain had no choice but to agree and led his team back to the boats. But as they were leaving, one of the black sailors clenched his fists. He couldn't accept such disgrace. That night, the captain secretly returned to the island with a small team. Under the cover of darkness, they launched a surprise attack, killing 13 guards and capturing the militant leader alive. They secured fresh water and supplies and finally made it back to the destroyer. For the first time in days, the crew could breathe again, alive, exhausted, but still holding on. A U.S. Navy nuclear submarine suddenly surfaced near a small island, and the residents couldn't believe their eyes. How could a strategic weapon of mass destruction, a nuclear sub, show up near such a tiny island? Turns out the U.S. military had lost control of this renegade submarine, and in response, they sent out 2 B-52 bombers to take it down. But the bomber captain decided to strike first. He aimed directly at the nation's capital and launched a nuclear missile. Washington, of course, couldn't just sit and watch. With only 4 minutes left before impact, the submarine's commander received a call from high command.
"You have 2 bombers bearing down on our position. In response, we have a bird in flight toward D.C. I'm sure you're reading it."
This is Curry. You're bluffing, Marcus. Initiate missile destruct immediately by order of the President of the United States.
Negative. If those bombers aren't turned around within 2 minutes, you have my word. That missile will detonate.
When the call ended, the control room went completely silent. Every crew member stared at the radar screen, holding their breath. But even as the final minute ticked away, the bombers showed no sign of turning back. The captain took a deep breath and gave his final speech.
As your captain, despite our best efforts, an attack is imminent. We won't survive it. It's been my honor to have served with each and every one of you. There's no one else I'd rather be with right now.
Then he gave the order, activate the missile self-destruct system, just as the command was about to be executed.
The bombers are turning back!
The bombers suddenly turned around. The captain exhaled in relief. They had won this tense standoff. Moments later, another call came in from Washington ordering him to destroy the missiles. But this time, the captain refused. He believed that if they disarmed now, they'd all be eliminated within a week. They needed to prove to Washington that they meant what they said. So, a missile shot across the sky and detonated 200 kilometers away from D.C. A calculated warning shot meant to show the capital who they were dealing with. Washington wasn't about to back down either. 2 U.S. nuclear subs moved into position around the island, and 36 warships were en route, a full blockade that would arrive within 48 hours. But the submarine captain refused to surrender. He ordered the activation of a new stealth technology.
Engineering Khan, engage the Perseus.
Aye, sir.
A system that rendered the entire sub invisible to detection. The enemy could no longer locate them. The captain seized the moment and launched a torpedo. It struck one of the enemy subs dead on, forcing it to retreat immediately. Once again, Washington had lost the upper hand.